I'm leaving. I love you.
What is that smell?
He needs some petting and loving on high. Hey kitty, won't you come inside? Kitty at my foot and I want to touch it. Kitty at my foot and I want to touch it. Meow, meow.
I'm not exactly a
meow,
cat
meow,
person,
meow, meow.
but I don't dislike cats at all. I inherited 2 of them. This guy's name is Dingo, and my other cat, his name is Moogie. But they're not the problem. I estimate that there's about a dozen stray cats who live around my house, and they love my yard for its sandy soil. It's so sandy because I bought it as a foreclosure, and it's been sitting for years with no working sprinkler system. Since I started the EPT program and began working part-time, I haven't had any time to fix it. I work for Palm Beach County Water Utilities, out by Boynton Beach Boulevard and the Turnpike. I intern as an instrumentation technician. Here I was introduced to programmable logic controllers. They are basically industrially hardened computers that use dozens of inputs and output signals to control a final process, in our case, reclaimed water. I have had a share in many projects like wiring this I/O panel, and I have recently been tasked with completely updating this mess of a cabinet. Months and months of tedious work. Working here is why I've decided to incorporate a PLC in my Capstone project. Wiring and programming one on my own would sharpen my skills in this field, meanwhile solving my cat problem. I would have to use the skills I learned in electric circuits, instrumentation, and programmable logic controllers. Also, I would need some knowledge about the enemy. My extensive research has taught me that cats don't like to be wet, but with what solution? Of course. It was necessary to plan carefully. I didn't want my project to conflict with any future plans of re-landscaping. At present, I have an oddly shaped piece of lawn and a crescent-shaped driveway up front. I plan on tearing up most of that driveway up front, making the lawn extend forward, but narrowing. I tested a few sprinkler types for approximate circumference at standard city water pressure, and I settled on 5 overlapping locations. My water source was conveniently located nearby, and to keep pressure up, I situated the valves nearby the sprinklers. I ran the supply water underneath the entranceway, and then out to my field and perimeter sprinklers. I added a small containment well to keep the pressure up, and to keep the water lines charged. Next, I would have to map out the previous owner's sprinkler system. It has been out of service since I bought the house nearly a year and a half ago. But once I located it, I tied it into my main system to be used for regular lawn watering. The last thing to consider was my power. An old conduit line once powered a light post in my driveway. It has long since been disconnected though, so I decided to make use of it by adding an indicator light to tell me when it isn't safe to walk out into my yard. Also, a receptacle was nearby my water source, which I had planned on using to power my control panel. So I extended my conduit, and I positioned my 120-degree motion sensors. The last thing I needed to do was to install my control panel and to run my wire. Ideally, a through-beam trip sensor like one on your garage door would be the best technology to use. Passive infrared motion sensors, or PIRs, do not work well during the day and are typically designed not to activate with small animals. However, they are cheap. Very cheap. I didn't want to run 120 volts AC in my front yard. Plus, I wanted to try to make it compatible with my 24 volt DC PLC. So with much searching, I found one that was 12 volts. Or so I thought. After much bench testing with no results, I had to go back and reread the spec sheets, only to find that 12 volts was just a typo. I had to contact the seller, hoping that it was a mix-up and that he sent me the wrong kind of switch. He was no help at all. I'm going to have to alter my design. This was a big setback for me. It's electric that I thought I had, and it was very close to the panel that I was going to mount. However, it's disconnected and I have no idea where. So what I had to do was use the existing conduit underneath my driveway to run a whole new length of line all the way to my panel. Let me show you how that is.
Kitty at my foot and I want to touch it. Kitty at my foot and I want to touch it. Touch it. I want to touch it. I
Let's take a look at my valves. Here I have a solenoid valve on my house water coming in, city water. Here's a sprinkler valve going out to the field sprinklers. Here is a check valve that I have from my well water that will tie in my regular sprinklers. With the perimeter sprinklers, I wasn't getting enough pressure. As you can see, I removed this one and capped it off. And those down there I have to get rid of. My fellow student Sean helped me use a 3D printer to make this neat field light indicator. When the system is down, the cat's face turns red. I've updated my control panel 4 times. I've had many components fail on me, such as a rectifier, a switch, and a transformer that burnt up because I did not have the PLC properly fused. This is what it looks like now. I have 3 different types of power, all working in harmony. All that was left for me to do was to write a program, download it to the PLC, and to test my project. Well, it works. In the future, I'd like to install magnetic door contacts that will shut off the system whenever I leave. Also, since cats are considered mostly nocturnal, I'd like to include a photocell that turns the system on automatically in the dusk hours. Time didn't allow me to do everything that I wanted to do, but the project in all was a success. As for the cats, they seem to be liking the neighbor's yard a lot better than mine.
Touch it, give me my foot and I